Everyone says you need expensive tools to do real woodworking. You've heard it, right? Buy once, cry once. It's like this unwritten rule that if your tools aren't shiny and expensive, you're just a pretender. So today, I decided to put that to the ultimate test. I built the same exact project, this awesome little side table, 3 separate times. Once with a set of super cheap bargain bin tools, once with some solid mid-range gear, and finally with the kind of professional tools you see in high-end cabinet shops. And I gotta tell you, the result absolutely shocked me. It completely changed how I think about getting started in this hobby. If you're new to woodworking, you've probably scrolled through forums and watched videos where someone says, "Don't waste your money on cheap tools, they'll just ruin your projects and frustrate you." But here's the thing, nobody ever shows you. They just say it. You never see a side-by-side real-world comparison. So, I decided to be that guy. I wanted to create the ultimate control experiment to see what really happens when you pit cheap against expensive. We're talking the same design, the same beautiful slab of oak, and the same person. That's me, doing all the work. The only variable is the price tag on the tools. So, is the secret to beautiful woodworking really hidden inside a high-priced motor, or is it something else entirely? We're about to find out, using science. Well, woodworking science, which is mostly just making a whole lot of sawdust for a good cause. We're going to look at the process, the frustrations, the final results, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly where your hard-earned money should go when you're starting out. Stick around, because this might just save you thousands of dollars and a ton of frustration. Let's do this. Welcome to workbench number 1, what I call the hope and a prayer station. Every tool here costs just under $100. We've got a handsaw that feels like it might bend if I look at it too hard, a corded drill from a brand I can't pronounce, a janky orbital sander, and clamps that feel more like chip clips. My mission, build a respectable side table. Breaking down the oak board was a full-body workout. The saw wandered, the cuts were ragged, and nothing was square. This is where most beginners would give up. But I kept going. Drilling pocket holes was slow and nerve-wracking. The drill bit wobbled, and a few holes were off-center. Sanding was tedious. The sander barely worked, and sawdust went everywhere. Assembly was a nightmare. The joints didn't line up, and the clamps were useless. I had to use my own body weight to hold things together. But in the end, I had a table. It stood on 4 legs and held a lamp. Up close, you could see all the imperfections, gaps, rough edges, and a not-so-smooth surface. Most beginners see this and blame the tools, thinking they need to spend more money. But the truth is, cheap tools make things harder, not impossible. Success is 90% mindset. If you expect a grind and aim for functional, not perfect, you can do it. Welcome to workbench number 2, the enthusiast's corner. Here, we've leveled up to a solid set of mid-range tools totaling around $500. We're talking a quality cordless circular saw, a reliable drill and driver combo, a decent random orbit sander and some sturdy clamps. The difference is immediate and profound, like going from a rusty bicycle to a brand new car. Making those first cuts with the circular saw is night and day. The saw glides through oak like butter, leaving a clean, straight edge. Suddenly, you're focused on the craft, not just fighting to prepare your materials. The frustration drops and confidence rises. Drilling pocket holes is fast and precise. Every hole is right where you want it, making assembly a breeze. The random orbit sander is comfortable, efficient, and keeps your shop clean. The finish is smooth and professional. With precise cuts and holes, assembly is like fitting together a puzzle. No gaps, no wrestling. Just satisfaction. The final result? A table that's sturdy, beautiful, and ready for your living room. For most home projects, this is all the tool you'll ever need. It's the sweet spot where price meets performance. Mistakes are easy to fix, and the tools give you control and confidence. You're empowered to do great work, and that's what makes woodworking truly enjoyable. Welcome to the promised land. Workbench number 3. This is the pro-level setup, a track saw, high-end drill, festool sander, and parallel clamps that cost more than my first car. The total cost? Well over $3,000. This is the gear that dreams are made of. But does it make you a better woodworker? The first cut with the track saw was sublime, perfectly straight, flawless, and dust just vanished. The drill felt like a surgical instrument, whisper quiet and perfectly balanced. Sanding was pure luxury, smooth, fast, and dust-free. But here's the twist. I got complacent, and a tiny mistake slipped in. The Pro Tools didn't prevent my error. Expensive tools don't replace skill or focus. In fact, they can amplify your mistakes. One slip can ruin an expensive panel. The final table was stunning, but only marginally better than the mid-range one. To most people, they look identical. These tools are for professionals, where speed and efficiency are business requirements. But for hobbyists, Pro Tools aren't a substitute for practice or understanding the craft. Using them felt like driving a supercar. Amazing, but not necessary for everyone. The biggest leap is from cheap to mid-range tools. Pro gear, it just multiplies the skill you already have. So, after building 3 tables and honestly filling 3 dumpsters with sawdust, what did we learn? Here's the truth. Cheap tools don't ruin projects, bad expectations do, and Pro Tools don't magically make you a master woodworker. Practice does. The C+ table I built with the cheap tools was born from frustration and struggle, but it was a functional table. The A- table from the mid-range tools was a joy to build and looked fantastic. The A+ table from the Pro Tools was a masterpiece of efficiency, but it wasn't a giant leap in quality over the mid-range one. The real enemy in woodworking isn't a cheap saw, it's the belief that you need to spend a fortune before you can even start. If I had to start my woodworking journey all over again today, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't chase the next big upgrade. I wouldn't drool over the pro-grade catalogs. I would buy a solid set of mid-range tools and just start building. I'd build more boxes, more shelves, and more tables. I'd focus on learning the fundamentals. The lessons I wish I knew earlier are simple. Start with simple, reliable tools. Learn to control the tool you have before you worry about the precision of a tool you don't. And only upgrade when your projects genuinely demand it, not because a YouTube video told you to. Woodworking isn't about owning the best tools, it's about understanding the wood. So what's the takeaway for you? Build your skill first, and your tool collection second. If you're just starting, get the best tools you can comfortably afford, which for many is that mid-range sweet spot, and then stop worrying about gear. Focus on practice, patience, and learning from every single cut and every single mistake. Now I want to hear from you. If you had to start woodworking again from scratch, would you go cheap, mid-range, or pro? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and if this video saved you some money or helped clear up some confusion, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more honest woodworking with no hype. And remember, build skill first. Buy tools later.